Hello, everybody. Welcome back to 31 Days of Halloween on the Calvin Camp podcast, the podcast where we talk about everything spooky and chilling. I'm Calvin.
And I'm Anthony. And today we have The Shining. So let's get into it.
All right, everybody. We're back again. Here we are today. We're doing day 21, and we're talking about one of the greatest films of all time, one of my personal favorites, and what I consider to be like a near perfect masterpiece film, The Shining. So, The Shining is incredible. It's one of those movies that has stuck around and is referenced throughout all of pop culture. It is continuing to be such a crazed movie that everybody goes back and sees and finds new things every time they watch it. Highly talked about. A lot of theories on different things that happen throughout the film, like foreshadowing of events and whatnot, quick nods to what's happening over here or over there, and just so many debates and so many talks about this film. Like, it is incredible. It was recently mentioned in another movie. There was a whole sequence for The Shining done in Ready Player One by Steven Spielberg, and there's just so much about this movie that's so good.
Yeah, this movie's great. I think it's like one of Stanley Kubrick's like best movies, I think, in just my opinion. He has several movies. He has Clockwork Orange. He has Full Metal Jacket, which everyone knows. He has Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah.
And by far this is like one of his best movies, in my personal opinion.
I absolutely agree. So give us a quick description.
Yeah, this movie, The Shining, is a 1980 horror film produced by Stanley Kubrick and co-written by novelist Diane Johnson. This film is based off a Stephen King novel with the same name. It stars Jack Nicholson, Danny Lloyd, Shelley Duvall, and Scatman Crothers. Nicholson plays Jack Torrance, a writer recovering from an alcoholism who accepts a new position as an off-season caretaker at the Overlook Hotel. Lloyd plays his young son Danny, he has psychic abilities, which is called The Shining, which he learns from head cook Dick Halloran, Scatman Crothers. Danny's imaginary friend Tony warns him about the hotel. It is haunted, and before a winter storm leaves the family snowbound in the Colorado Rockies, Jack's sanity deteriorates under the influence of the hotel and its residents, and Danny and his mother, Wendy, which is Shelley Duvall, face mortal danger.
Yes. This movie is a wild ride. Now, I don't think it's a negative in this case, but the movie does have some slow pacing, but I think that it's the way that Stanley Kubrick filmed this movie was just like, it works with it. It's like the slow pacing moves along with the suspense, and it like you're hooked, especially with the characters that we're introduced to. Jack Nicholson, his character is just so incredible. The performance that he gave in this movie is unbelievable. It's one of my favorites of all time. I think that he's such an actor.
He's such an actor when he gets into a role. Man. And I just thought that, like you said, the pacing was good. The chronological order, the way the story was told as it goes deeper and deeper, you can see his sanity breaking, and you see all the darker elements of the hotel, and it's really well done, and that in that regard it's really good. Like, you have even some great cinematography with like steady cam shots, like at the beginning, the helicopter pilot choreographer, the guy doing the cinematography. Just think about this. We have no drones. He's doing it. It's not shaky at all. It's very, very well done. Them driving there to the Overlook. The story's great in this movie. There's a lot of good backstory, and there's also the story just develops into a twist at the end. And this is an excellent movie in all shapes and forms. And it's definitely the best qualities of it is Jack Nicholson's acting, and even Shelley Duvall.
even well, yeah, like Stanley really put her through the ringer. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna like let's start with that. Like Shelley Duvall's character, like she experienced true horror filming this movie. Like both in character and out of character, just because of the unpredictability of Jack Nicholson's acting. Like, there were many times where she was actually terrified. Like her screaming on camera is real. And what I believe there's a part where she even shouts like at Jack, shouts his name, and like that was not her shouting at the character, that was her shouting at like Jack Nicholson himself. So but it's just there's so many great things. There's so many iconic scenes in this movie that are just mentioned, like I've said before, like the blood elevator, like
The
that.
blood elevator is consistently
That's just one
shown
of the
over
most
and over and over.
most iconic scenes.
I mean, the lady in the bathtub, two girls that got slaughtered by her father.
yeah,
Even the scenes with Lloyd, he's the bartender,
yeah.
and those scenes are really well
Oh,
done.
I love
too.
the Lloyd scenes. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, they're really well done. The conversations that Jack has with him, like, yeah, it's just really, really well done. I think one of the most memorable scenes also is Danny on the big wheel, like running through the
Yeah.
entire hotel. Like, I think that those shots are fantastically done and so memorable.
Yeah, and then even when he stops, when he sees the two girls in
Yeah.
the hallway, and room 234.
230, no, 237.
Oh, 237,
Yeah.
not 234. Excuse me.
Yeah. No, it's just so many good stuff. So like the maze, the scene at the end with the maze, with the axe, and Jack is just his presence on screen is so
Yeah,
just
he plays this character to a T. Like, this is some of the best acting I've ever seen from Jack Nicholson, even though he's done a million movies. But
he goes from being like loving to Danny
Yeah.
to just being like just totally twisted and totally
yeah,
totally crazy. And like some of my favorite scenes with him, like I love when he's walking up the stairs after Shelley Duvall and he's just like, I'm not gonna kill you, I'm just gonna bash your brains in. Like I
Yeah.
love it.
yeah, and then the one where Shelley Duvall locks him up in the pantry.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, Wendy. She goes, I'm gonna go get the radio and the snowplow. And he's like, oh, I did something there. Go check it out, Wendy. Go check it out. And he's just banging on the door, and it's just so good. Oh my God, he's a lunatic.
And of course the iconic line of "Here's Johnny."
Yeah.
Like,
And then he says that after, but that comes after. But he quotes the Three Little Pigs: "All huff and all puff and all blow their house in." It's just like so good.
I love it. I love all of this movie. This, if you have not seen this movie, this is like number one priority on your list. Here's your homework, people. Go watch this film.
Yeah, this film is phenomenal.
Yeah, there's just like there's nothing bad to say about this movie.
Yeah.
Like there really isn't. It's the script is incredible. It is different than the book. If you've read the book, it is the book is very much more supernatural than the movie is. The movie kind of plays into the supernatural, but doesn't at the same time, because it's like it's just showing that this man is going crazy. It's showing that this family is going crazy. But it also has like obviously it's hints at supernatural, like something in the hotel is affecting these people.
And not to mention that Danny can feel it, and also Dick Halloran, which is played by Scatman Crothers, R.I.P. He was a great actor in his day. But yeah, it's the cool scene where he's talking about his gift. He's like, how I knew you, I knew your name was Doc, and he explains all that, and it's really cool.
Shine.
Yeah, the shine, and it's just the story is really well done. Even when I think his name is Stuart Ullman, the guy that's like the head of the hotel. He's like the manager.
Yeah, it is.
He tells them about the creepy past. He tells the history of the building, and there you go from the very beginning. You're like, ooh, okay, this building has a past. Okay, you
Yeah.
know, and you're invested from the story in this movie.
Isn't in real life too this hotel is haunted as well, right? I believe.
I don't know that.
I'm
for
pretty sure. I'm pretty positive this is a very, very famously haunted hotel. Really cool, like location in Colorado. And I don't know. There's just so much about this movie I absolutely adore. Um, so what would you give this movie? My guess.
No, man. This movie gets 5 stars.
I mean, it's an easy 5. It's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer after the first 5 or 6 minutes of this movie. You're like, I'm invested in this movie from the very beginning.
And every time you watch this movie again, there are little things that you find like every single time. I've seen this movie tons of times, and every time I can find something new. Like it's great.
So, like I said, the acting, the steady cam, like Shelley Duvall and Jack Nicholson's acting, obviously, like,
and the score at the beginning.
Yeah, the score is phenomenal in this film. Yeah,
no, it's really
and
good.
Just all the steady cam just accentuates like the eeriness with all the shots, like the emptiness of the hotel, like when they're in there, and the ambience of the storm, the wind. Do you hear it in the hotel when they're walking? You always hear the howling of the wind in the snowstorm.
And then
they're walking
also
through the hotel.
Like the debate at the end of this film with the photograph.
Of Jack Nicholson.
Has he been there all of this time? Has he not been there all of this time? What's the theories about that? There's so many theories online. Like, it's insane. So like nobody knows. Like, it's such a nice closed but open ending of like what may possibly be happening.
Yeah, you have what was it, Delbert Grady, which was the guy that murdered his children. There's the good scene where when him and Jack are having a conversation. He says, "You've always been the overwatcher of this place."
Yeah,
and then that kind of ties into the end with the photograph of him being at that ball that he's in the scene.
Yeah,
like
it's wonderful. And again, other things in entertainment has referenced these things. This is in Key and Peele. There's a skit where it's continental breakfast, and me and my buddies, like, we talk about this all the time. Talking about you, Dawson. Talking about you, Cody. Talking about you, Jacob and Donnie.
Shout out to the boys.
Shout out to the boys. Freaking, I love being incontinent. It's so fucking funny. But at the end, like, Key turns to Peele and he's like, "What are you talking about? You've always been here." And this shows a black and white photo of him like eating continental breakfast at the fucking hotel.
Yeah, that is funny.
I love it. It's so good. This movie, 5 out of 5. 5 out of 5. Let's get into fun facts.
Yeah,
I've
got some fun facts for this film. Only a few. Due to the cult following of this film, it has been subject to many outlandish myths that you just mentioned. One being the most famous myth as that Jack Nicholson gets agitated in an agitated mood when he's only fed cheese sandwiches for 2 weeks that he hates, which is pretty funny. A snowy maze near the conclusion of the movie consists of 900 tons of salt and crushed styrofoam. That's pretty interesting. I thought that was a real maze.
That's a really cool.
The MPAA did not allow blood to be shown in any trailers that would be seen in at all for all ages. Stanley Kubrick persuaded them that the blood was rusty water that he got past the trailer because he said it was rusty water, not blood.
That's funny.
Saul Bass is reported to produce around 300 versions of the film's poster before Stanley Kubrick was satisfied with the final poster. I can see that Kubrick was kind of demanding on what he wanted.
Yeah.
Along with Bound of Glory in 1976, Marathon Man in 1976, and Rocky in 1976, this was one of the only films that developed the Steadicam, so you can see that in all the shots, which is really interesting. Yeah. This movie, after Carrie in 1976, the second theatrical adaptation of Stephen King, which was cool. Danny riding his tricycle down the hallways is a nod to The Omen in 1976.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was like, I know I fucking recognize this somehow.
So there is a lot more facts for this movie, but I've only have a few of the interesting ones. So that's all the fun facts we have.
Those are good. Yeah. Thank you all so much. Again, Shining is amazing. And to follow up with it, Doctor Sleep is also a really incredible sequel to this movie. It's not nearly as perfect as The Shining is. However, it really holds up good. I really love the movie, and like we're not covering that movie, but I would rate that movie a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Like, I think that movie's really good.
Yeah, after watching this, I immediately wanted to watch that movie.
So, go watch The Shining. It's very, very, very much worth your time.
It's definitely worth your time. It's a masterpiece.
All right. Thank you all so much for watching, and we will catch you tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and have a good night.
Thank you all so much for watching the Calvin Cam podcast. You can find us on any social media platforms like Instagram or Twitter. Go check our podcast out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Amazon Music. We also have YouTube channel, the Calvin Cam. Go over there, hit that like and subscribe button, and follow us there, as well as you can now really support us on patreon.com. It's probably the best place to support us. So you could go there, join one of our 3 tiers, and help us get bigger and better, and we will appreciate you every step of the way. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a good night.